Everyone's so pathetic these days that you're not allowed to say what is a blatant fact. Again, as a young man, you need to be hit in the face consistently.
How to start a cult. The first thing is you've got to be the cult leader.
Why do millions of young men worship this man like a prophet? Let's talk about the man turning incels into monks, simps into warriors, and normal guys into something else entirely. Hamza Ahmed started as just another guy in his bedroom giving advice to the internet. His early views were raw, vulnerable, and honest.
I wasn't friends with most of the people from high school anymore. So I went into college and I was lonely. I remember the first 2 months or so of college, like I literally felt like I wasn't speaking to anyone, and I was so embarrassed by that.
He talked about loneliness, anxiety, how it felt to be addicted to porn and video games, and more importantly, how he got out. He wasn't rich, he wasn't jacked, he wasn't famous, but he had one thing most self-help creators didn't. He was relatable. He looked like the guy next door. He cried on camera, he journaled, and he talked to his viewers like brothers. Then came Jeffrey and Adonis.
Jeffrey's, of course, being the loser guys who are either unfit, broke, or both. While Adonis being the Chad type of guy who exercises and follows Hamza's self-improvement plan.
Adonis wakes up to sunrise and starts his day, whilst Jeffrey's still asleep.
This is Hamza's most viral creation, and possibly his most dangerous. Hamza invented the characters Jeffrey and Adonis as a metaphor. Jeffrey is weak, lazy, addicted to pleasure. Adonis is strong, disciplined, and focused on long-term success. The world, according to Hamza, is trying to keep you a Jeffrey, but you must fight to become Adonis. The metaphor is simple, too simple. And that's exactly why it works. Hamza doesn't just tell you to improve, he gives you a villain to fight. Jeffrey is the enemy inside your own mind. Adonis is your future self. It turns self-help into a moral war, a battle between light and darkness, between pain and pleasure, between dopamine and discipline. And the result? Thousands of young men start living by the code of Adonis. Scroll through Hamza's comment section, you'll see it everywhere. I killed my Jeffrey today. Adonis mindset. No more instant gratification. Young men treat this like a scripture. They don't just watch his videos. They worship the message, and they post their own rituals, cold showers, gratitude journaling, dopamine detoxes. This isn't just inspiration, it's transformation. But the danger is in the extremes, because in Hamza's world, there's no middle ground. You're either a Jeffrey or an Adonis. There's no room for sometimes I play video games, no room for sometimes I relapse. You are either weak or strong, loser or legend. There is no gray, only war. And when self-help becomes war, every mistake feels like failure. Every indulgence feels like a sin. Every setback feels like shame. Hamza says it's about discipline.
Discipline was not just the route to the rewards of life that he wanted, but it was the path in itself.
But what he's created is something closer to self-hatred in disguise.
You're gonna relapse and it's actually gonna fuck you up because of how much you've...
Hamza pushes accountability. He pushes hard truths, and his followers love that. But there's a shadow to that message, because many of his viewers are teenagers, depressed, isolated, sometimes suicidal. And when you tell them that every mistake is weakness, they believe it. What happens when a 16-year-old boy thinks he's worthless because he watched porn? What happens when failure becomes identity? Hamza never tells his followers to hate themselves, but his black and white system leaves little space for forgiveness. Here's the real question. Is the Adonis mindset a healthy call to action, or a rigid doctrine that's hurting more than helping? Hamza argues it's all mindset, that he's just offering tools, that everyone is free to choose. But the way he presents it, it doesn't feel like a choice. It feels like judgment.
Well, shut the fuck up. If you cannot control your emotions as a man, you are worthless. This may be one of the first times that you actually hear the cold hard truth.
That's not advice, that's indoctrination. It works, that's the scary part, because people crave identity, purpose, rules, and Hamza gives them that. He turns improvement into a religion. Jeffrey becomes the devil, Adonis becomes the god, and every day is a test of your loyalty. Some viewers rise, others break.
Because this worked for me, and it worked for basically every guy that I get to do this plan.
I did research and I found a bunch of things and I found...
But what happens when your prophet starts claiming divine knowledge? In the next section, we'll look at unverified claims, the pseudoscience, and the guru complex that's growing louder in every video. Is Hamza selling you a discipline, or is he selling you an illusion? Let's talk about the unverified claims and the pseudoscience that have become a growing part of Hamza's content. This is where things get dicey. At first, Hamza built his brand on basic evidence based on self-improvement. Wake up early, work out, journal, read. Simple, effective. But lately, some of his content has veered into untested waters. He's promoted concepts like semen retention, pineal gland detoxing, and even warned his audience about spiritual parasites. None of this is backed by mainstream science. In fact, many experts in neuroscience and endocrinology directly contradict these claims. You lose your masculine energy when you ejaculate too often. Your soul becomes weaker. There is no reliable evidence that frequent ejaculation reduces masculine energy or spiritual strength. It's a myth that is floated around certain online communities, but Hamza's platform has helped it spread further. And because of his influence, a lot of young men take it at face value. The danger here isn't misinformation. It's the psychological effect it has on his audience. Teens begin to feel guilt and shame over normal biological functions. They start viewing every setback as a spiritual attack instead of just part of being human. This creates a cycle of paranoia and magical thinking rather than grounded personal growth. Hamza's critics argue that he cherry-picks data, ignores context, and turns complex issues into black and white spiritual battles. One psychology professor commented on his videos, "It's a cult-like framework designed as wellness. You're either a Jeffrey or an Adonis. There's no room for nuance or mental health realities." He may not see himself as a cult leader, but the way his followers speak about him says otherwise. Scroll through the comments and you'll see people saying things like, "Hamza saved my life. I follow him like a father. Hamza is the modern-day prophet for young men." Now let's pause. This isn't to say Hamza has bad intentions. He seems like someone who truly wants to help. But when your message becomes entangled with unverified claims, it's no longer just self-improvement. It's a belief system, and belief systems can blind people just as much as save them. What happens when the self-improvement guru becomes the headmaster of a secret school? That brings us to perhaps the strangest part of Hamza's rise, Adonis School. The name alone sounds fictional, like something out of a dystopian novel, but it's real. Adonis School is a private pay-to-earn community where Hamza promises to turn young men into modern-day warriors. He offers mentorship, access to exclusive videos, and even personal growth assignments. To be fair, a lot of creators monetize with private communities. That's not the issue. The issue is how Adonis School is marketed and what's happening behind a paywall. He's not selling you a curriculum, he's selling you identity. You don't buy Adonis School to learn, you buy it to belong. Others describe private Discord servers where dissent isn't allowed. If you question Hamza or challenge any teaching, you get muted or kicked. There's a rigid hierarchy. Those who get Hamza's attention are treated like demigods. Those who don't, exiled or ignored. The monetization of self-improvement isn't new, but this has shades of something deeper. Adonis School isn't just selling products, it's selling transformation through allegiance. You're either inside the tribe or you're a Jeffrey. This kind of binary thinking can be damaging, especially for impressionable minds. Young men need mentors, yes, they need discipline, but they also need critical thinking, healthy dialogue, and a space to fail without being shamed. Is Hamza helping young men rise, or is he locking them into a new kind of box? Let's take a breath. Hamza is not a scam artist. He's not evil, he's not malicious, but he is powerful. And with power comes responsibility. He started out as a voice of reason in the chaos of modern life. He gave structure, meaning, and energy to lost men. He showed that masculinity could be sacred again. That's no small thing. But now he walks a dangerous line between mentor and messiah. His teachings have grown more mystical, his language more absolute, and his following more intense. So here are the real questions. At what point does helpful advice become dogma? Can a community built on growth also allow room for doubt? And are we following Hamza because of his wisdom or because we want someone to tell us who we are? In a world where masculinity is often attacked or distorted, Hamza offered sanctuary. But every sanctuary can become a prison if we stop asking questions. So now it's your turn. Watch his videos, hear him speak. Take in both the good and the questionable. Then ask yourself, are you becoming an Adonis or just someone who needs to be told what to do? That decision is yours.